As you may or may not know, my wife and I just got back from Vegas. It was a great trip. We ate, we drank, we had a blast. But then we got home and looked at the credit card, and I gotta say, it doesn't matter how much fun you're having, $25 for a drink is a ripoff. Frickin' Vegas. I hate getting ripped off, and so do the lads over at Harry's. They spent years watching the razor blade companies rip people off and said, no more. Not all heroes wear capes, my friends, and they want to prove that they're legit by offering you hot dogs a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. I've been telling you about them for months, and I'm genuinely proud to have Harry's as a sponsor of this show. I wasn't kidding. The plastic, futuristic-looking crap razors you get at the store are overpriced and they're poor quality. Harry's blades are crisp, clean, and classy. They're the kind of razor you'd expect your grandpa to have on his bathroom counter. And most importantly, they work. Shave after shave, they're so smooth, they're precise. I used to go through the crappy store blades all the time, but Harry's are built to last. And they're not just better quality than the other names, they're more affordable. And they deliver. Just set your schedule, and for as little as $2, new blades, shaving creams, lotions, everything you need, right to your door when you need it. I genuinely cannot think of a reason not to try Harry's. And I'm not just saying this because they're sponsors. They're the best shaving supplies I've ever used. Try them out, and if you're not happy, your shave's on them. And unlike the other subscriptions, they're really easy to cancel if you want to too, which is a nice bonus, but believe me, you're not going to want to cancel. Getting ripped off isn't funny. Switch to Harry's. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. That's harrys.com/RTG for a $3 trial set. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 217, and it's one of our prestigious Patreon poll winning episodes. And it's arguably among the most prestigious of the prestigious Patreon poll winning episodes because it's not only a game that's considered one of the GOATs, but it's a PC game. We're talking Half-Life. And listen, for the record, I know I could have played it on the PS2. I actually played Half-Life 2 on the original Xbox years ago, but it won a poll of PC games, and admittedly, maybe I was a little under the influence of marijuana when I posted a poll of PC games because I don't PC, but I wanted to be a man of my word, so I bought it on Steam. I played it with a mouse and keyboard, the whole shebang. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to get out of the way here before we get into the normal rambling here. Please, do not expect a ton of PC reviews in the future here on Remember the Game. I know some of you love them. I get it. I just don't really enjoy playing on PC. One of our Patreon perks is access to our Discord, and I was posting in there the entire time that I was playing Half-Life, and just I see the appeal of mouse and keyboard, but it fucking drove me insane. It's just not for me. I've spent 35 years playing on consoles with controllers where I just pick them up, turn them on, and play. I'm not changing now. I also know I compare controllers to my PC. I hear the requests for PC games. Maybe I'll mix the occasional one in. But I legitimately mean this. I think we've reviewed every PC game I've played in my life, at least that I've played enough of to do a podcast about. We've done Roller Coaster Tycoon, Oregon Trail, Dino Park Tycoon, Doom, and now Half-Life. That's my PC resume right there. That's about it. Every January, our Patreon poll consists entirely of RPGs. It's become a tradition because I'm off the road from stand-up. It's a great time for me to catch up and play a beefy RPG. And maybe every summer now, I'll run a PC poll just to try to keep the PC Master Racers at bay. It's just I have so many console games I still want to get to. PC's just not something I see becoming part of the regular rotation. Okay, I just wanted to set the record straight. It's done, clarified, finished. Now that said, I'm very glad that the PC game I did play was Half-Life, because I feel like this is one of those games that every gamer needs to play. Even 20 some years after it was released, it's still fucking impressive. I did not enjoy the last couple levels of the game. We're going to get into that on the show this week. I thought the first third of the game was practically flawless. It was perfect. I thought the middle third was very good, and I frankly thought the ending kind of sucked, but still, it's just one of the all-time greats. I feel like I've filled a void on my gaming resume by finally playing Half-Life. My guest this week is the nerdiest nerd I know, my buddy Tyler. He was playing Half-Life back in the late 90s with the LAN parties and all that shit. I played it in the early 2020s, and I think it's a testament to the quality of this game that despite that giant gap in our first time playing it, we had very similar thoughts about how it plays, how it holds up. It's a very, very, very good game. And I recommend you hang around to the very end of Remember the Game this week, because I even make a promise to the PC Master Racers and to all of you Half-Life fans, and I try to use my incredible powers of just willing games into existence to try to get us a Half-Life 3. I am throwing my weight behind a Half-Life 3. And we're going to get to all that in just a minute, because speaking of my incredible powers, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. Dun, 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 dun. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard. Consider this your warning. Our intros are kind of long, but they're fun. They're more fun than the last couple levels of Half-Life. And I'm sorry. I really like that game, but the last couple levels can fucking eat my ass. But if that's all you're here for is Half-Life talk, skip about 30 minutes up the road and you'll be in there. But listen to the intro. It's fun. We talk video games and shit. It's good times. I have to get my plugs out of the way. It's how I keep the lights on around here. We have merchandise, hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mugs, posters, all kinds of shit. Rocking incredible art that was all drawn by my man Joe from 4545creative.com. You can find our merchandise at rememberthegamepodcast.com if you're interested. It's a great way to support the show. The holidays are right around the corner. And of course, if you don't care for clothes, I understand. You can always just support us on Patreon. Maybe the best value in the history of the world. For just $2 a month, you get 2 extra podcasts every week. You get exclusive access to my gaming news show, Game Patch, every Friday, where I look at the biggest news in modern video games and I add in my opinions and some profanity and stuff. And Expansion Pass goes live every Thursday, and it's a different show every week. I do game and console rankings. We look back at particular characters, different genres, consoles themselves. There's some comedy episodes in there. There's modern game reviews, a ton of modern game reviews, all spoiler-free, by the way. This past week on Expansion Pass, I actually shared some stories about my regular Remember the Game guests. I explained how I know them, why I have them on the show. It was a Patreon selected topic, and I thought it actually turned out to be a pretty cool episode. And as is becoming tradition, here is a sneak peek of last week's episode of Expansion Pass. Where do my Remember the Game guests come from? My favorite story about Mark was he used to work the light at the Yuck Yucks here in Edmonton. And what that means is he would do like the soundboard, and then they have a bright red light at the very back of most comedy clubs that'll flash the comedian to tell them like, hey, you've got 2 minutes left or 5 minutes left or whatever, wrap it up. And one of my first weekends ever working the Yuck Yucks here in Edmonton, Mark was working the light. He was the timekeeper. And I was supposed to do 20 minutes. I was the opening act. I was supposed to do 20 minutes. So he was supposed to give me the light at 18 minutes to let me know I have 2 minutes, finish my joke, wrap it up, get out of there. And I'm up on stage, and admittedly, I was semi-bombing. I wasn't completely dying, but I wasn't doing great. And Mark gives me the light. At like 6 minutes, I'm getting the light. And I'm like, what the? And I can't say anything to him because I'm trying to be a pro and do my job. But I'm like, that must be a mistake. There's no way I'm at 20 minutes already. I just kind of ignored it, kept going. Then a couple minutes later, he gives me the light like 3 times, like click, 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 click. And that's his way of telling you, like, if you get it the second time, that's the way of being like, dude, stop. You're over your time. Wrap it up. Get out of there. But I'm only like 8 minutes of my 20-minute set. So I'm like, okay, like, all right, that's it for me. I'm out of blank. Thank you so much. I leave. And I get to the back, and the headliner's like, dude, what the fuck? You didn't even do half of your time. And I was like, I don't know. Mark lit me. I got to go see what the fuck's going on. So I go back to the time booth, and I was like, Mark, what the fuck? Mark had been playing his goddamn 3DS, and he had forgot to stop his timer for the host because the MC off the top of the show was supposed to do 12 minutes. So the MC did their 12, and then I had done 6 minutes of my time. 6 plus 12 is 18. He was supposed to light me at 18. So that's now available in our archives. And this week for Expansion Pass number 131, I'm going to go with the runner-up from that topic poll of a couple weeks ago. I'm going to count down the top 10 games, retro or modern, anything goes. The top 10 games that I haven't played but really want to. The definitive in order, 1 through 10 lists. So I that's been an anticipated episode for quite a while. I think that's going to be fun. Again, $2 gets you 2 additional shows every week and instant access to over 250 archived podcasts. Plus, all ad-free, by the way. Plus, access to our Remember the Game Discord, the chance to vote in our Patreon poll at the end of every month, the ability to submit comments to be read on all of our shows, and you get a shout-out and get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm about to do to most of these people. A huge thank you to our newest Patreons. There's some doozies in here. Lady Asaku, sorry, lady. Coach Marv, Caleb Claffy. It's the Bigfoot, Graham, Smid Rock, Tiny Package, Lucas Valadez, Haley Aparicio, Eric McLennan, Ichi Nutsuru. I just got that. Ichi Nutsuru. I gotcha. Robert McPherson, Brandon Strauss, Ashes to Rainbows, Rotby, Mr. Papa Giorgio, Terror of Rebirth, Violent Turtle, Anthony Messina, TJ Williams, Emily Helm, Dropkick Mac, Nate Robbins, Terry Carruthers, Mouse Cop, Chris Kid 35, Eric Christian Powers Esquire, that's a wrestling name, Calhoun 21, Scott Jackson, Josh Maxwell, Matthew Walker, John Drews, a Waluigi to the past. I like that. And Corey Balint. I'm sure I fucked up both of those names. Wear it as a badge of honor. Thank you so much for the support. Welcome to Remember the Game Industries. You can find all that at patreon.com/rememberthegame. And to wrap up the sales pitch, we have annual memberships now. If you sign up for a year, you get the 12th month free at all of our tiers, minus the sponsoring an episode. Well, it's all over there. You can go see it. And 5% of my Patreon income every month is being added to a pool that we're going to donate to the Stollery Children's Hospital at the end of the year as part of my 24-hour charity stream. We're over $2,300 raised now, which is fucking sick. So you're doing good. I'm doing good. We're keeping the bills on. I'm making podcasts, wins all around. Patreon.com/rememberthegame. And you can find me on Twitch if you're interested. Twitch.tv/rememberthegame. I have no consistent schedule. I just get on there whenever I can. I've been playing through Dead Space over there right now to get ready for an episode. You can find that whole playthrough. Twitch.tv/rememberthegame if you're interested. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in the cartridge. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons, usually gaming related, but not always. And we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. And I just want to throw one quick note out there. We're getting way more comments for the blowing in the cartridge segment than we used to get. We're up to 50, 60, 70 a week now. So this is not me trying to get anyone to up their Patreon pledge or anything like that. I rarely talk about it, but in addition to our $2 pledge that gets you 2 extra shows a week, our $5 pledge gets you 3 extra podcasts a week. I do a podcast called The Rambling Idiot every Tuesday, where I just talk about basically not video game stuff. My life, I tell comedy stories, I share my opinions. That's available every Tuesday at our $5 and up Patreon level. I'm going to start taking an extra 5 or 6 blowing in the cartridge comments each week and replying to them on the Rambling Idiot. It's I haven't come up with it. I originally wanted to call it the Sloppy Seconds because it's blowing in the cartridge, but even by my standards, it's a little crass. But I am going to start replying to a few additional blowing in the cartridges every week. Or I guess it'd be the following week. So the Remember the Game today, a few of those blowing in the cartridge comments, I'm going to reply to them on next Tuesday's Rambling Idiot. So I would not recommend upping your pledge just to hear if your comment gets read, because I'm still going to be answering about a dozen of 60 or 70 every week. But if you've already been on the fence or you already listened to the Rambling Idiot, now I'm going to reply to a few more blowing in the cartridges at the end of that show every week as well, because there's just too many. And I feel bad when I can't read all of them. So there you go. Let's kick this thing off. Sir Busts a Lot wrote in and said, "Hey, Adam, as you know, I've been stuck without power due to Hurricane Fiona, and I gotta say, man, the backlog I had downloaded saved my sanity. Between listening to them and a bottle of whiskey, I've made it through. Still no power, but they're saying by Monday it should be returned, and hopefully Wi-Fi comes with it." Let me just say, I thought it was Hurricane Ian or something. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I know there's a ton of you listening to this that have been affected by that fucking storm or the storms. Everything that's going wrong. Fucking goddamn planet's trying to kill us. Let me just say, there's literally nothing I can do to help you other than ramble into this microphone and hopefully take your mind off what's going on for a little while. I hope everybody is safe and okay. And I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through. And you've got the Remember the Game official thoughts and prayers. You've got us behind you, because it's fucking. I bitch about Alberta sometimes because it's just a giant frozen field of dirt, but sometimes a giant frozen field of dirt isn't so bad. So I hope everybody out there being affected by these storms and the hurricanes and everything, I hope you're all doing Okay. Johan Mejia. That could be Johan Mejia, but I think it's Johan Mejia. I hope I'm saying that right. Said, hey, Adam, this time I'm writing in for help. Could you explain, like I was 6, how PlayStation Plus works? They just charged me my annual membership, but I have no idea what the hell I'm paying for. Unfortunately, I can't find info that my dumbass can understand. Thanks, and keep kicking asses. I get my ass kicked. I don't kick a lot of asses. I'm actually thinking about dedicating an episode of Expansion Pass to reviewing PlayStation Plus next month with all the new tiers. Just quickly, yeah. So explaining it to you like you were 6. So I got to squat down so that we're face to face. I don't have to squat that far because I'm pretty short, but we're face to face. So there's basically 3, for the longest time, PlayStation Plus was PlayStation Plus. I don't know what it's worth where you are here in Canada. I think it was $60 a year or something like that. And you paid for the year and it gave you access to play online. Because there's a couple of games, like I think Fortnite you can play without PlayStation Plus, but like most games, you need to have PS Plus to play online. So it gave you access to play games online. It would give you discounts on some games on the PSN, the store, and then you'd also get 2, 3, 4 games a month for free that you could just add to your PlayStation collection. And then as long as you have a PS Plus membership, you can download and play those games anytime you want. And if you've been doing that since like the PS3, you have got hundreds of fucking games just waiting for you. And every month they roll out a few more. So, but now they've rolled out 2 additional tiers. There's PlayStation Premium and PlayStation Extra. And I should have looked it up. I believe PlayStation Extra is like a second. So consider the basic PlayStation Plus to be like PlayStation Plus Bronze. Like that's the one that's existed forever. You get online access, 3 or 4 free games a month, and discounts on some games. PlayStation Silver is what they're calling PlayStation Extra. And that gives you access to a ton of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games as well that you can just download on your PlayStation and play at your whim. So it's like Game Pass. You're paying extra. You're not getting a ton of big day one releases, but you are getting a ton of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games that you can then add to your PlayStation and just download them and play them anytime you want as long as your PlayStation Plus is active. And then PlayStation Premium, which would be like the gold tier, the highest tier. With that, not only do you get everything involved in those previous 2 tiers, a ton of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games, you also get a hold of a ton of PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and PSP games that those libraries keep getting added to every month. And then those games are all downloadable and playable as well, except for PlayStation 3. For something to do with the tech, I don't know. I'm not going to try to explain it. But PlayStation 3 games you have to stream via the cloud. So I would highly recommend if you're on and then you also get access to like timed demos, you get access to cloud saves. There's like a couple other little perks, but that's basically the gist of it. Basic PlayStation Plus gets you online access and a couple of free games every month. PlayStation Extra, which is the middle tier, gets you a ton of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games in addition to that other stuff. And PlayStation Premium gets you a bunch of PS1, 2, 3, and PSP games in addition to all the other stuff from those previous 2 tiers. So I know it's clear as mud. I hope that helps. Johan, I will say I upgraded to the PlayStation Plus Premium about a month ago because I wanted to buy a game that was $20, but I had just re-upped my basic PlayStation Plus, and then it said for about $60 I could upgrade to PlayStation Plus Premium for the year, and the game I wanted was included. So I was like, well, $20 gets me this game, $60 gets me that game plus a ton of other ones for a year. So I decided to pull the trigger and upgrade, and I gotta say, I've been pretty impressed. I'd like to see more games added to it, more bigger name games, because there's a lot of duds in there. But it's pretty impressive. I think I'm going to do an expansion pass about it next month and review PlayStation Plus Premium and all of the tiers in there. So I hope that helps you a little bit. They did not keep it simple. That's for true. Tom Houlihan wrote in and said, hi, Adam, can I get a quick shout out for my daughter, Quinn, please? Have a nice day. Hi, Quinn. What's up? If you're listening to this, please don't repeat any of the things I say at school because I say a lot of bad words. But what's up, Quinn? I like your name. Quinn's a cool name. I like that. Rotby. I think I'm saying it right. Greetings, Knucklehead. I discovered this podcast in the past month, and I have been fiending on it through my work days ever since. I've never liked any podcast before, so it would be an understatement to say that I love the show. Well, thank you, Rotby. One of many things that particularly stuck out to me about you is how you've declared that you non-ironically love pop music. So I want to know, musically, play one, remake one, erase one. Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and Pink. That's actually, thank you for listening, Robbie. That's easy. I do love pop music. I love pop music, especially 90s pop music. I will play Britney Spears because her catalog is outstanding. I will absolutely remake Christina Aguilera because, listen, I love Britney Spears as much as the next person. Christina Aguilera has got one of the greatest voices ever, and I just want to listen to that woman sing for all time. She is a fucking beast. And then I'm going to erase Pink. I'm not anti-Pink, but she's, I entered manhood with Britney Spears. I fell in love with that woman, and I just think Christina Aguilera is far and away the best singer of the three. And I like Pink, but someone's got to go because I play by the rules. Roger Russell said, with my baseball season winding down, what are your World Series picks? Being a diehard New York Mets fan, I'm going with the Mets versus the Astros. I also secretly root for the Rays since I live right outside of Tampa, but I don't know if they have the offensive firepower to take down the Astros or even the Yankees, who are playing their best baseball since the first half of the season. I agree with just about everything you fucking said, Roger. If you don't know, I'm a Tampa Bay Rays fan. So what I want to see in the World Series is the Rays beat the Dodgers. And I know. But because the Dodgers beat them in the pandemic season and I want revenge. So that would be my ideal World Series, would be the Rays beating the Dodgers. My picks for the World Series, I know it's fucking lame. I'm going to go with how do you pick against the Dodgers? I fucking hate the Dodgers, but I'll go with the Dodgers. And just to not be boring and pick the top team in each league, I'll say the Dodgers and Yankees, but I don't really fucking want any of them to win. I don't even care. You know what? Quite frankly, as long as it's not the Dodgers, Yankees, or Astros that win, I don't care who wins. I obviously preferably the Rays, but I'll take anybody. But I'd be shocked and a little bit surprised if any team other than the Dodgers, Yankees, or Astros win the fucking World Series. God damn it. Coach Marv wrote in and said, hi, Adam, fellow first-timer here. I get a lot of those first-time comments now, and I can't read all of them, so I'm sorry. I just got done listening to your Splinter Cell episode. It's my favorite game series, and it's the one game I've actually gotten completed on multiple systems. With that in mind, what about a game would make you want to buy and play it on multiple consoles, or is that not something you do? Thanks. I've been binge listening to the show, and I can't praise you enough. Well, thanks, Coach. I've never had a coach say anything nice to me in my entire life, so that feels nice, other than a couple of you around here. So thanks, Marv. I don't buy a lot of games on multiple systems, but I'm not going to pretend that I'm not, above it. I just bought The Last of Us for the third fucking time. I bought it on PS3, I bought it on PS4, I bought it on PS5. So I guess loving a game will make me buy it again because I'm a sucker and I love The Last of Us. For the most part, the reason I buy a game multiple times is for their portability. Buying games on the GBA, buying games on the DS/3DS, now buying games on the Switch, buying games on the Vita. Indies in particular, I've bought Shovel Knight 5 fucking times. I started playing Rogue Legacy on my PS4, loved it, and then bought it on my Vita. That more often than not, that's what would make me buy a game multiple times, is because I want to play it on there's another platform I would prefer to play it on, particularly, like I say, if I can take it handheld. Shovel Knight is probably the game I've bought the most. I love that goddamn game so much. Thanks for writing in, Coach. Appreciate it. Finally, before we move on, it's letter time. And Joe the Sandman wrote in and said, hey, bud, what are your thoughts on cloud gaming? I ask because it seems more and more companies are turning to that gameplay mode, starting with the Kingdom Hearts trilogy for the Switch and the recent news about the Resident Evil games being released on the Switch in cloud mode. And there's the remote gaming systems that PlayStation offers on mobile devices as well. For me, it's impractical since Mexico's mobile services give us limited data and really expensive plans for our phone, and public places rarely have a good Wi-Fi connection. So it's kind of ironic we're talking about this, considering just late last week, Google announced they're shutting the Stadia down, which is cloud. My personal opinion on this is I was anti-cloud gaming for quite a long time because I hadn't had good experiences with it. But in the last 6 months or so, I've kind of 180. Now, I will throw out there, I live in Canada. I don't know how our internet and our Wi-Fi stacks up against the rest of the world's, but I have an unlimited data plan on my cell phone. I have unlimited data on my, my home internet, and I have pretty good home internet. So I'm in a, fortuitous position compared to somebody like yourself, Joe, that said you've got very expensive data plans for your phone and bad Wi-Fi out in public. Living here, I've actually been quite impressed. I stream to a lot of games to my phone now, both PlayStation 5 on remote play on my iPhone, and then I also play a lot of Xbox cloud gaming on my iPhone, and it's really dope. I've talked about this before, but I've played Dead Space, Hollow Knight, Fallout 3, Gears of War. I've played some really good games on my phone via Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is included with my Game Pass Ultimate sub, and they've all worked borderline flawlessly. The minorest of hiccups, but they've worked really, really smooth. And I was hesitant to sign up for the highest edition of PlayStation Plus because I wanted all the PS3 games, but I didn't want it to stream the PS3 games. But I've been streaming a couple of them to try them out too, and they have been like flawless. It has been like they're downloaded on my phone. So I truly know people are going to disagree. I know people are going to argue. I don't want to get an argument versus digital versus physical, because buy whatever the fuck you want, what makes you happy. I am a digital gamer. I prefer my games digitally over physically because I find it more convenient, and I don't like the clutter of having a ton of physical games laying around. That said, I think digital gaming is the future. And I think cloud gaming is the future of digital gaming. I think it's going to take time. I think they need the internet to catch up. But I'm going to die on this hill. I think subscription models are the future. And I think with those subscription models comes cloud gaming. I think it's harder. I mean, I know there's still some of you out there that buy CDs or vinyl records or buy DVDs or buy physical books. But books, movies, music, those TV shows, by and large, people stream those now. People download those now. That you don't have to like it, but I don't think you can disagree with me. That it's fucking simple as it is fact. I think it's harder with video games because it's very easy to download an hour and a half long movie and watch it. It's not as easy to download an 80-hour video game and then have it react to you pushing buttons and playing it. I understand that that's a whole different ballgame, to Netflix or Spotify or fucking, insert your favorite streaming / download subscription service here. But I think as the internet improves, and the internet's improving all the time, I do think it's coming, and I do think it's going to be part of the future of gaming. I think it's going to be the future of gaming. Is it optimal? That's debatable, because I think you can look at the Stadia and look at people that are losing these giant fucking save files and all the stuff all the time they put into Stadia because they're shutting it down now and they might lose all their work. I get that. I really do get that. And I get the idea that, if you buy a digital game or if you stream a digital game, you're basically just renting it or licensing it. You're not buying a physical copy like you are if you go out and buy a copy of, insert whatever game here. I absolutely get it. I think there are pros and cons to both sides, but my opinion is as the internet catches up around the world and becomes easy, I don't know what the term would be, I guess. More and more accessible, just better quality. As the internet becomes better quality, I think streaming is going to become more and more normal. I've 180'd. A year ago, you wouldn't have caught me dead streaming a game. I hated it. Now I'm like, dude, as long as it'll hold up, this is great. I don't have to download anything. I don't have to buy anything. It's just fucking seconds. I've got my game and I'm playing it, and I love it. So I think it's a big part of the future of gaming. I think some are going to be dragged in kicking and screaming. But I think it's going to be a big part of the future of gaming. And I think I'll even go as far as to say, I don't know when, but I think there'll be a time in the future where you don't even buy games anymore. You just pay for your subscription and you just, like you do with movies and music and all that stuff, and you're just going to stream them and play them. And you can argue with me if you want. I don't want to get in an argument with people. That's my opinion. I was asked for it. That's what I think. Every time I bring this up, somebody comes at me and they're like, you're an idiot for not buying physical. I disagree. I don't have to go anywhere. My games are here. It's more, I like it. I'm not going to call you an idiot for buying physical. So go fuck yourself. If you think I'm an idiot for liking digital, go fuck yourself. It's whatever floats your fucking boat. If you still want to go buy CDs or vinyl records or DVDs, go nuts. I'm just going to go downstairs and fire up my TV and watch whatever movie I want to watch, which is none because I don't watch movies. But anyway, there you go. Okay, we got to move on. Thank you, Joe, and thank you to everybody that wrote in and stuff this week. As always, let's change things up and let's get into our Smash Hit segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industries. Play one, remake one, erase one, baby. Also, as a follow-up to that streaming thing, I am going to be releasing every episode of Remember the Game Ever on cassette tape someday. Or maybe 8-track when I'm done. But I'm mostly kidding. I don't know. It would be kind of fun, but whatever. Anyways, let's get into Play One, Remake One, Erase One. The rules are simple. Every week, I give our listeners 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, remake one however they want as a modern game, and the third game is just erased from time forever. And as always, there are no wrong answers. There is a right one. We'll get there in a minute. This time around, I went with 3 PC shooters, in account of Half-Life, and frankly, maybe the only 3 retro PC shooters that I know, and that is Doom, Wolfenstein 3D, and Duke Nukem 3D. And 43% of you said you would play Doom, remake Duke Nukem, and erase Wolfenstein, which I don't agree with. But let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I'll tell you what the right answer was. General Fury, happy birthday, Fury, wrote in and said, I would play Wolfenstein because I never played it. I would remake Duke Nukem 64 because decking was fun. Awesome. Oh, that game, I think. I think you did voice to text because it says decking. I think it's that game. Was fucking awesome. And hail to the king, baby. It's time to kick ass and chew gum, and I'm all out of gum. And lastly, I would erase Doom because I never played Doom on the PC, being that I didn't have a PC strong enough at the time. And when I did finally play my first Doom game, it was Doom 64, which was too dark. It didn't do it for me. Doom 64, I think, is the only Doom I haven't played. I've played Doom 1, 2, 3. I played Doom 2016. I played Doom Eternal. I don't think I've ever played Doom 64, but I have heard that it was very dark. I get that. So I can get on board with that. I have no problem with that logic. That's fair. I love that you played Wolfenstein because you never have. I like when people do that. That warms my heart. Citizen Insane 45. My first fucking double secret probation in months on the show because I've tried not to be as angry. Wrote in and said, play Doom. One of the most influential games of all time and still playable to this day. No question. Remake Duke Nukem 3D. I spent countless hours playing this as a youth. Keep it mainly as it is, but just touch up the graphics and frame rate. Wolfenstein does show its age now and is arguably the best option for a remake, but I cannot get rid of either of the other two. So now before I fucking yell at you for this, let me just make sure that I'm right before I put you on double secret probation for breaking the rules. You said play Doom, remake Duke Nukem, and then you said Wolfenstein shows its age and is arguably the best option for a remake, but I can't get rid of either. Okay, you know what? You're safe, because I thought you were saying that you would just play Wolfenstein and Doom and remake Duke Nukem. I think you're very reluctantly saying you'll erase Wolfenstein just without erasing it. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, Citizen Insane, that you played by the rules and erased Wolfenstein. Maybe I just misread your comment. So you're on thin fucking ice, Citizen Insane. Good logic, though. I can agree with the logic. Triple wrote in and said, you can't erase the two godfathers of first-person shooters. I'm going to remake Wolfenstein, the original, the creator. Every first-person shooter owes this game. I'll take a new Mecha Hitler, play Doom. It took Wolfenstein and made it better and more popular. Duke Nukem was the easy choice to erase. Although it's a good game and hilarious, it just doesn't have the legacy that the other two do. And I agree. And there was a lot of people writing in to defend Duke Nukem, but there was also a lot of people being like, it might be the funniest, silliest of the three, and it is. But I would agree with the argument that Doom and Wolfenstein have bigger legacies. And that's not to shit on Duke Nukem, but I can get on board with that. Ryan Perry said, did you just watch Sophie's Choice? I've never watched. I don't know I don't watch movies. I don't really know what that is. So no, I didn't. This one is painful. Play Duke Nukem because I absolutely love the levels. Remake Wolfenstein because I haven't played any of the newer Wolfenstein games for whatever reason. And erase Doom because, well, it's amazing. You can't kill Hitler. I want to say it's ballsy to erase Doom, but that is sound logic. If you're like, well, I want to kill Hitler and I can get all right. I can live with that. It's a bold take to erase Doom, but that's fair. That's a fair argument. And Charlie, one of the greatest listen to this. I fucking laughed so hard when I read this comment. Charlie wrote in. This is an easy one. Play Doom because you can play it on literally everything, and it's the game that got me into gaming. Trash Duke Nukem because it's a dollar store ripoff of OG shooters. And remake Wolfenstein because killing Nazis only gets better with better graphics. I love that logic so much. Remake the game just so that killing Nazis becomes more enjoyable in HD or in 4K or whatever. That is just... well done, Charlie. Out fucking standing logic. I love it. And you're right. Killing Nazis does get better with better graphics. I agree with 34% of you this week, including Samuel Mitchell, who wrote in and said, I'll play Doom because it's pretty perfect in its base form. I've been playing the OG on Switch. It still holds up. I'm going to remake Wolfenstein. I'd love to have the game with upgraded sound and graphics without the slog story that's in the current gen titles, and erase Duke Nukem. I never played this one back in the day, and when I did play it recently, it didn't blow me away. I'd rather just play Serious Sam and have good dumb fun with a game that did it better without all the boner jokes. There's nothing wrong with boner jokes. I don't agree with your logic necessarily, Samu, but I do agree with your order. I will play Doom because, yeah, it's Doom. I cannot bring myself to erase Doom. I like it as much as everybody else. I'm going to remake Wolfenstein because I actually really like the modern Wolfenstein games a lot, and I just want to see more of them. I really like the modern Wolfenstein games, and I'm going to erase Duke Nukem because I've played them, and I don't really enjoy them. I just think, I don't know, as a comedian, I think they're kind of hacky. And I know some are going to yell at me for that. Not for me. I don't care for Duke Nukem. So I'm going to erase Duke, and I'm not really going to fucking feel that bad about it either. Thank you to everyone that wrote in this week. What have I been playing over the last 7 days? And we'll get into Half-Life. Mostly just Grand Theft Auto 4 and Dead Space. That's really all I've been playing in preparation for a couple of upcoming episodes of the podcast. And I'm not going to tell you what I think of either one. You're going to have to wait for the fucking podcast. That's really all I've been playing. That's it. Let's talk Half-Life. That's why you're here. That's the main event. I like to give our listeners a chance to sound off on the game we're talking about before my guest and myself hog the microphone. We got a lot of comments this week. I'm going to bomb through a few of these. Sniper Slayer said, my family got a brand new PC around the launch of this game and was so hyped, but shortly after we got our new computer, our house was broken into and it was stolen. We were pretty shook up, but in the end, we ended up using the insurance money to get an even better computer with a sweet new 3D FX Voodoo 3 graphics card. I don't know if that's made up or not. I don't know. And a slew of games, including Half-Life, Baldur's Gate, etc. This game gets a lot of hate in hindsight, but at the time, it was the pinnacle of home gaming. I can distinctly remember every store had a computer displaying it on their top system. The AI, environments, etc. were like nothing we'd seen before. Still a great memory and probably one of my top games if you include Counter-Strike as part of it. Does Half-Life get heat these days? I honestly didn't know that. Unless you're bitching that there's no Half-Life 3, which I'd get on board with. I thought people still liked Half-Life. I thought it was awesome. Mercury869 said, when my parents finally joined the 20th century and purchased a PC, Half-Life was one of the first games to get installed, and it never got uninstalled. It's absolutely magnificent, and I would say it's one of the reasons I got hooked on PC gaming. Thank you for playing this. I can't wait to hear you trash keyboard and mouse controls. I, too, also hate aiming with pinpoint accuracy. So this is why people hate PC Master Races, because you're a bunch of smug cunts. No, the aiming with the mouse is awesome. I love aiming with the mouse. Moving with a keyboard, anyone that prefers to platform with a keyboard over a controller, you just suck at video games. And fucking come at me. I don't care. Moving around with a keyboard was awful. Awful. But aiming with the mouse was fucking pretty tight. I'll give it that. David Winchester said, this game was the one that got me into PC gaming, but I always felt like Halo Combat Evolved did everything Half-Life did better. The enemy AI, the levels, the cutscenes, the lore, and the multiplayer were all better in Halo. I love that Half-Life was a huge step forward in video game storytelling and that it spawned games like Counter-Strike, which I spent hundreds of hours playing, but I always thought it was just a little overhyped. Half-Life 2 perfected everything Half-Life was trying to do, damn near video game perfection. But honestly, outside of the story elements for future games, there's no real reason to play the original Half-Life now, in my opinion. That's a bold take, Winchester, because I thought everybody, I gotta say, like, as I'm saying in this episode, I don't even like PC gaming, and I had fun playing Half-Life, and I was like, I'll probably play it again someday. I thought it was great. I don't know, but maybe if you grew up playing it, I could see maybe you're like, I've played it a billion times. I have no reason to. That's how I feel about GoldenEye on the 64. I loved playing it back then, but I have no urge to play it anymore. Maybe that's what it is. This is a hot take. Jeremy Spale said, Half-Life was my gateway drug into Counter-Strike. The game itself was captivating and engaging. I loved every time I took the tram into Black Mesa. Is that how you say it? Mesa? I don't know. At the start of the game and helping those I could and watching most suffer a pretty awful death. Solid game. I agree. Solid game I almost feel like that's understating it just a little bit. And Nakamurda said, Half-Life along with Warcraft 3 were both absolute gems that have since been overshadowed by mods that spawned off of them. The mod community for this game was unbelievable. Really a watershed moment in PC gaming as it took the first-person shooter platform that Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein established and added a sci-fi movie-like atmosphere to it. If we're not going to get a Half-Life 3, then I really hope we get a remaster someday. I fucking agree, Nakamurda, especially if they make a remaster but put it on console. Please. I want a Half-Life 3 so bad. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get into everything Half-Life in just a matter of moments. I'm going to cue up some music. I will say I don't remember hearing the music during the game at all, but it must have been there. And when it stops, my buddy Tyler and I are finally going to talk motherfucking Half-Life, which originally released on PCs on November 19th, 1998. Enjoy the podcast, everybody. Let's go. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Everyone that listens to this podcast knows about our illustrious CEO, my dog Molly. But the other silent partner behind the scenes is my wife. And let me tell you, my friends, a 17-year relationship with another person that has to talk to and live with you is a lot harder to maintain than one with a dog. We've had our ups and downs, and as you all know, a relationship isn't all sunshine and rainbows. They can be a lot of work. You get out what you put in when it comes to relationships, and talking to a therapist can be a fantastic way to put in some work. They can help you work through your issues, learn to communicate better, and even just provide you with an ear to bend when you need it. I've talked to my therapist about my relationships, especially when it came to my stand-up comedy career and how much I was away from home, and they helped me work on ways to keep my relationship strong even when I was out on the road. It turned out our relationship was actually better when I was out on the road, but that's a story for another day. And I know, right? Therapy. Who has the time these days? BetterHelp hears you, and they're making it easy. Fill out a quick form online, and they'll match you up with a therapist that suits your needs and that'll work around your schedule. You pick the meet times, and you can get your therapy fix from anywhere, over video, phone, or just chat. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit BetterHelp.com/RememberTheGame today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/RememberTheGame. Okay, so, boy. As I'm sure I've explained in the intro, I'm a little nervous this week. We're talking a PC game. PC games are not my forte. Fortunately, I have friends that are fucking nerds, and I called on one of the best this week to carry me through what I would imagine is one of the more anticipated episodes of Remember the Game over the last 217, 18 weeks. I'm not sure how many episodes we're at by the time this goes live. It's my pal Tyler. What's going on, man? How's life?
Hey, Adam, doing well. Life is amazing, absolutely amazing.
Life is amazing,
We're
dude.
not-
And it's the fall. Fall is the best season.
You can wear a jacket, you don't have to. It's kind of warm out, but it's kind of crispy out.
Yeah,
Love it.
I love the smell. I like the orange leaves. Good shit.
Yeah.
It's a great time to sit inside and play video games, which is what we're talking about this week. We're talking, oh boy. Okay, so we're talking Half-Life. Now, Tyler, I'm sure I've already explained in the intro, I only played this for the first time about 3 weeks ago. I played it with mouse and keyboard, which I don't know if I ever want to do again. I don't want to go back down the mouse and keyboard rabbit hole, because I'll have explained during the intro how I don't get it. It's 35 plus years of using a controller. My fingers are trained. I'm not changing it up and going to mouse and keyboard now.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. Some people are coordinated and some people are not, you know. Some people can only use their little thumbs and other people can use all 10 digits.
It's so stupid. Like the mouse, I don't want to go back down this. Like you fucking we are a minute and 38 seconds into this episode, and I've already gone back on my pledge to not go down the fucking mouse and keyboard rabbit. All right, let's fucking do it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's fucking do it before we get into talking Half-Life. Listen, I am not slamming people that use mouse and keyboard, because I will say the mouse in particular, when it came to playing, if this was my first-person shooter ever, other than like playing like Doom, like way back on the day on like my, with just a keyboard, using a mouse to aim a gun in a first-person shooter, that's the tits. That's pretty handy. But trying to fucking, in particular, the platforming in this game, which admittedly is by far my biggest beef, which we will get to, I don't get it. Like trying to fucking, my hand, granted I don't have a gaming keyboard either, but like my hand is cramping up and I keep pushing the wrong buttons on my fucking keyboard, and I don't get it. So I know there's some PC Master Racers listening to this that are having fucking asthma attacks or something right now. Are you like mouse and keyboard over controller when it comes to shooters and stuff?
I kind of play the hybrid, so it depends on the shooter. Like something like Gears of War, which I now play on PC, I would use a controller 100% of the time. And I know that's a third-person shooter, but
does that have to do with like the getting in and out of cover and stuff like that? Like it's just because like that game is so based on cover and things, and
the roles, everything like that. But then if I play a shooter like Escape from Tarkov or like even Modern Warfare, like Warzone, I'd probably want to use a controller over a mouse and keyboard. But Escape from Tarkov, which is more about sniping and positioning, I'd hands down rather use a keyboard and mouse.
That's fascinating. I like.
So movement, prefer movement with a controller, prefer like precision shooting with a mouse and keyboard.
Okay. I will listen. I really don't want to like, cause I've had so many messages from people about this and stuff. Like, I don't want to, it's what, different strokes for different folks, right? Like, I like peanut butter on my toast. Some other people like Vaseline. It's fine. Everyone likes their own thing. It's great. The mouse thing is handy. The keyboard thing is fucked up, but whatever. I digress. We're here to talk Half-Life, not have a debate about fucking mouse and keyboard. Now, I played this for the first time about 2 weeks ago, but this game is like 25 years old or 24 years old. 99, 24 years old. So I assume you've played this.
It came out in 99?
98. Late 98.
Because I think it was first shown in E3 in 97 or something like that.
Yeah.
And
so,
and this is Valve's first game too. Like this was, and Valve is, a very big, I don't know if it's a household name, but a big gaming name. Like,
dude, everything.
They're responsible for Team Fortress and.
Yeah, like everything Valve touches. Like, I'm just looking at the list of, and like, again, you guys know, right? Like, this is not a history lesson podcast. We don't do a lot of homework. But like, when I think of Valve games, the number one thing that comes to my mind is Left 4 Dead. Because I love Left 4 Dead. I don't play a lot of online shooters, but I loved the Left 4 Dead games. But then there's also Half-Life. There's also Portal, Counter-Strike. And now they've obviously got Steam, where they're just printing fucking money. And now they've got the Steam Deck and stuff. And I would argue, there are few developers / companies in gaming these days, or I would say over the last 25 years, with a golden touch as powerful as Valve's. Everything they touched fucking just prints money. It's insane.
Oh, and I would say they're some of the pioneers to professional gaming, like to esports. So like Dota 2 is huge, and that's a huge esport game. And MOBAs are the first games to be esports, but then Counter-Strike is like the pillar that built first-person shooters.
Yeah, it's
for esports.
Like, nothing but respect on this end from Valve. And I understand we can complain about, Steam and some of the things they've done with monopolizing them, blah, 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 blah. I don't even care about any of that. Valve is, because I don't play on PC. Valve is fucking the Midas touch of gaming. And the thing is like, you're right. And I honestly didn't even realize it until you said it like a minute ago. Everything started for them with Half-Life. I had no idea this was their first game. And now that I'm done it and I've played it, I didn't finish it. I got stuck at the end, but we'll talk about that. But I have played it, and I'm like, and I had played Half-Life 2 years ago on the original Xbox and really liked it. And now that I finally played this one, I'm like, this is a fucking goddamned impressive debut. Like, holy shit. Now, it's 24 years old. I played it about 24 days ago. I assume you played it earlier than 24 days ago.
Yeah, I played it 24 years ago.
Yeah, I assume you're like an OG.
Yeah.
So I gotta wonder then. Like, I imagine the impact of it was a lot different back then than it was on me playing it a month ago. But I will say, even playing it a month ago, I get it. Like, it's a fucking impressive game. I cannot even fathom what it was like to play it back in like its launch in like the heyday. Like, this thing must have changed the game.
Well, so one of the things that it did that no other games at that point were like Doom. I think Duke Nukem probably was out.
Yeah.
Doom, Duke Nukem, Quake, right?
Yeah,
where you had these like, very fast, like you're floating over the floor. So you didn't feel like you were taking steps. Gordon feels a little bit like he's doing that still. It doesn't feel like you don't have head wobble or anything yet, I don't think.
No, no, not really. But
the thing that it did was, it had the story happening around you. Like, it wasn't like you were reading some text on a data pad or, just like looking for random keys to open like the blue key card for the blue door. Like, you actually had like, interactions with NPCs. Like, that didn't exist before this game. It didn't have that at all.
Totally.
The AI in the game or whatever, like the programming for the game was unique and new. Like, pushing the envelope.
Sure.
That you wouldn't have Halo without Half-Life.
Sure. I can get on board with that. Like like I said, in small doses as a kid, I would play like Doom and like Wolfenstein, like listen, I love, like, does anyone not love original Doom? Like, everybody loves Doom, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
right? Like it's
absolute
Doom.
classic.
It's fucking it's like it's beyond classic. Like it's fucking Doom. It's awesome. But like you're right. It's very floaty. Let's call a spade a spade. The story isn't great. You're fucking just basically like you said, looking for the blue key card or the yellow key card to open the next door, and you're fighting these weird looking demon things and these floating devil eyeball head things as you're doing it.
Yeah.
And like even playing this game for the first time in 2022, I could see like I'm like, dude, this is in particular. I don't know if this is gonna be a popular take, and we'll get into the game more in a minute. I just kind of want to talk about like its impact. But like to me, the first third of the game was outstanding. The middle third was good. I didn't care for the final third. But that first third of the game, when you're in the lab and you're breaking out of the lab.
Oh yeah.
Man, like it was so, and I was like, dude, I have played games like Doom Eternal. I have played the Halos, the Gears of War. Like I've played quite a few video games, and I was like, I could still found myself engrossed by the atmosphere of this lab and the tension and never knowing when something was going to break out of a fucking vent and talking to other scientists and finding them and security guards that were all beat up and stuff. And it's like, dude, I really didn't even think to compare it to original Doom, but if you're comparing it to games like Doom from back in the day, oh my God, what a level up. Like, it's incredible. It's
Yeah, like, this was released right when, like, Quake 2 was released. So that's kind of the era. Like, it was, Quake 2 pretty much was like Quake 1, which was like Doom, which was like Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Their shooters at that point were, like, really linear, just run around and, fire bullets at monsters. You didn't have any explanation as to why you were there. Unless you read the instruction manual with one of those games, you had no idea what was going on.
Right.
This, you are thrown into a story. It plays more like an interactive movie.
Yeah, it's incredible. It was, and like, listen, for all of you that are worried that I'm going to come on here and rip, because I don't really like playing PC games, like that's not, I am going to rip on the final, like, couple levels of this game because I fucking hate them. But for the most part, yeah, I was shocked at like how good it looked, how well it's like how great it sounded. Like you said, it still feels a little floaty, but like you do feel like you're taking the steps, and like it really is you in the game. And it's, what I think is brilliant, especially about the beginning of this game, is the way that you spend the first like 10 minutes or whatever. Nothing has gone wrong. You're just checking in.
Walking through the facility. You're talking to other scientists. I think you don't even put the suit on yet, right?
No, I don't believe you. I can't remember because I remember where you get it because you go into like the dressing room, like the locker room, and it's like over there. Maybe you do have it on. I think actually you do. I think you have it on before you go downstairs.
Right when you're about to start. Yeah, right when you go in like your reactor space or whatever.
But I think it's so. Yeah. I think it's so brilliant that they let you spend the first 10 minutes just playing as Gordon Freeman, just a scientist, just at work, just clocking in like another day at the office, going down to do this like experiment. And it really puts you into the shoes of like being in this lab. It's not like you said, listen, again, I love Doom, but like Doom, you're just dropped into fucking hell or whatever. And you're shooting aliens or whatever the fuck, demons.
Yeah.
This one, you're just like a guy at work to start. And then it all hits the fan. And then the way you have to climb back out through this lab that you just walked down through and see how it's all changed. And I was mesmerized by the first couple hours of this game. I was so entranced by it.
Well, and like one of the things that it had, like you're talking about, you're walking through the lab. First person shooters, like the space you were in didn't look like, like a place, like a real place. This is one of the first games where you're like, yeah, I'm in a fucking lab. Like I could, there's, pipes and everything running everywhere. There's fucking scientists everywhere.
Yeah.
This is one of the first games to do that, where you're like, your environment reflected with what you were doing and where you were.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a bunch of, polygonal shapes that you vaguely resemble something. Like it literally like textured, had textures over everything. So you looked like you were in a lab, like a real lab. It was awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely.
Even that very beginning opening segment where you're kind of just in that like cart, that like tramway or whatever, just making your way down, like it really gives you a feeling of like just how underground you are and like where you are. And oh my God, I was just
and what a great setup for the escape too. Like you ride this tramway down and you're like you're given some scale and some scope of when shit does hit the fan, spoiler alert, you cause like this massive tear in space and time because you put some unknown shit into a reactor.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna spoil the fuck out of this. Like, it's 24 years old. I might be the last person on the planet to play this fucking game, so we're spoiling the fuck out of this game. Go ahead. Sorry.
I forget what the reactor was called, like the particle something or other.
Yeah, I'm never gonna be able to tell you that, but I do. Yeah, you're like doing this like I remember like you go into that room because that's why you have the suit on, because you're the one like in that room, like working on it. The rest of them are like behind glass or whatever, like talking to you over like the radio. And then all of a sudden shit hits the fan and they're like, oh my God. And then you come out and like a bunch of them are dead and the fucking lab is destroyed. And then you're starting to climb back out. And then the scientists are like, the military or whatever is going to be here soon and they're going to save us. But then they're killing the scientists and it's like, what the fuck? It's just, and this is where I don't want to sound like I want to know what your take is, because we can get into the specifics. But here's, to me, the first, when you're breaking out of the lab and you're kind of like trying to get back up to the surface, I loved it. And then the middle third of the game where I felt like it almost kind of turned into Call of Duty and I was just fighting soldiers all over the place. I didn't hate it, but I was like, I did like it better when it was a little bit less combat and a little bit more tension. And then the final couple of levels where you're in like these alternate dimensions and you have to platform and shit, I fucking hated them. I hated them. But I'm curious, like, what did you think?
So I thought the escape was the best part. The like beginning of the game, it is the best part.
It is incredible. Yeah.
I didn't mind fighting the soldiers, but again, like I was playing this when there was nothing like that.
Sure.
Like that was insane.
And listen, I want to say I didn't hate that part. It just, I liked it better when it was like I was underground in this lab and it was tense. Once I was like outside and just fighting soldiers everywhere, it wasn't that it was bad, but I felt like, in my opinion, where this game was at its best was the tension of the sci-fi movie of being underground, not being above ground just fighting people. It was still fun, but I just liked the added tension of like the idea that I was underground with all these aliens or whatever. But that's me. Go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. But like I said, they didn't have anything out at the time that was like that. Like maybe I think Soldier of Fortune came out shortly after that, but this really did pioneer so many elements of it. And like, you got to keep in mind, like this is the precursor to Counter-Strike.
Right.
So like fighting those soldiers, that eventually leads to what Counter-Strike is, like this whole platform and the like movement, the way the guns look, the gunplay, everything. It all evolved off. This is the foundation that so many games are built off of.
Right.
Because Counter-Strike's the first like real esports shooter. I think fighting the soldiers was fun. It was so unique, so new. I hated the platforming. But again, that also was new. That wasn't a thing in first-person shooters.
Right. And
like at the time, like the comparable like Quake, Doom, and that stuff, you had very little like puzzles that were, more than find the blue key card or whatever, like find the golden skull to unlock, blah, blah, blah. You actually had like these huge platforms, boxes you had to shoot and blow up, and there wasn't like I'm at a puzzle now all of a sudden, it still felt like you were in an environment that made sense.
Sure.
Like, it's not like you walked into a room and you're like, a puzzle room.
Right. Agreed.
You'd walk into a room and be like, oh, a server room. Oh, fuck, I got to figure out how this, I don't know, button opens. Oh, those giant presses in the other room.
Right.
Which made sense that there were giant presses in this lab, right? Like,
right. No, and I will say too, like, especially now that I guess I just never put I never put 1 and 1 together, or 2 and 2, whatever the phrase is. I never put 7 and 8 together to figure out that fucking, like this was Valve's first game. And so I will say, like, I respect the ambition of the way that, like, as much as I love the parts in the lab where you're trying to break out, I do think if that had been the entire game, maybe it might have started to get a little bit stale. And so I appreciate that they change it up a couple of times. I do appreciate that. And I can understand that they were trying to do something different with the alternate dimension. Like, my beef with the end, I mean, I will say, like, I couldn't beat it. I couldn't beat the final boss. Maybe I'm just not very good. I couldn't beat the final boss. But that part where you're fucking, I don't remember what the name of the dimension, Zen or whatever the fuck the dimension is.
Zen. It's like 3 letters, XZN or something like that.
And you're like trying to jump from like platform to platform, and you have to like, there's one part where you have to like work your way down from the top of this thing to the bottom and then get on like a flying fucking devil raid or whatever to get to like a portal. And Oh,
And it shoots a laser below it, right? Like they're really annoying how they shoot like like an orbital beam type of thing, right?
yeah. I just now, admittedly, I don't find that kind of stuff fun in most first person games. Like, I don't think platforming translates well into first person. I appreciate that they were trying to do something different, but at that point, I was like, I don't want to get any shit from all the Half-Life fans listening to this. I did not enjoy. And from what I've seen, a lot of the consensus seems to be once the game goes to Zen or whatever you call it, people don't love that part of the game. I appreciate that they were trying a bunch of different things. It's an ambitious game. I think it's a great game, but I did not like the end. I did not enjoy that part at all. I kept missing jumps and falling and fucking dying and getting so mad. And maybe that's because I suck at using a keyboard because I'm an uncoordinated ape, like you said. I don't know. But I hated that fucking part. I liked the story. I love the idea that you go into this dimension to stop whatever's coming through this. I'm down with that. But I was like, I don't want to platform now. There's even platforming in that's my beef with this game, was I just didn't enjoy any of the platforming. There's a part near the end where you're climbing this like weird yellow tower and going to all these like portals and shit and warping around. I didn't like that. I didn't like when I had to run across a pipe and pour, like, I just, like when you're going across like the radioactive ponds or whatever the fuck they are. I personally just didn't, and maybe that's just because I suck at platforming with a keyboard in first person. I just didn't enjoy those parts, period. I had more fun shooting and running. Like, did you hate am I alone? I'm honestly curious. Like, did you dislike it?
No, like I said, I played it back in the day, so I don't have any like I can 100% guarantee that some of the things that were like groundbreaking that I loved back in the day, like, the level of, we're just going to call it Zen now.
Yeah, we're going to Zen.
Yeah. It was so shocking to see something like that. Like, it was just, it was so unique. It definitely like gave off I like the aesthetic of that place too. Like, the alternate dimension definitely pulled from H.R. Geiger, the guy who did the aesthetic for Aliens. Yeah. The artist who created like the whole look. Okay. Definitely pulls from that. So it has like just such a cool motif there. If I went back and played it now, 100% I'd be frustrated with it.
Yeah, listen, there, like, I think there are parts that are neat. The parts where, dude, some of the parts where you're in like pipes or going through like vents or like some of that platforming was actually pretty dope. But then there was other parts where I just was like, fuck me. Like, I want to shoot and sneak around. I don't want to have to, like, this isn't Mario Brothers, but you're right. Yeah. You're right. I am judging a 24-year-old game for the first time.
Well, and
100%.
So did you play Portal?
No. And I take so much shit. And I know for everyone listening to this, you don't have to message me. I get messages every time it comes up. I promise. It's not that I hate Portal. I just haven't got around to it. I will play it. Please. No more death threats, please.
So everyone who's listening to this, Adam's mailing address is...
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
yeah, don't DM them. Send them hate mail.
Yeah. Just pieces of paper with fucking spit on them. Like, that's... No, I will... I would argue that Portal is the most... especially now that I've played Half-Life, I would argue Portal might be the most critically acclaimed game that I have never played. It might be. But where were you going with that? Now that I've...
So, like, Half-Life is like the story. I don't know, like Half-Life being like just like a very good story, right? But in Half-Life, I feel like the platforming, that is totally like the precursor to what they do with Portal. Portal is just that dial being turned up to 11. Whereas like the shooting is what like Counter-Strike is, and that's that dial turned up to 11. And then Half-Life is like, the story that, a fully like theatrical version or whatever of a story, using the elements from those two games.
I see.
That came out later.
Like, and I will say too, like, a part of my beef with the platforming might just be that I'm not very experienced or good with using a keyboard. Like, maybe if I was doing it with a controller. Well,
and it's older, right? Like, I feel like platforming's come a long way since.
No question.
Especially in shooters, right? So, dude, even just being able to do little like cut screen, wall runs and shit like that. The fact that, this is all very, like, it just barely feels like you're not floating. Right?
100%. Even if listen, I have made peace with Mario 64. I like that game now. But the time where I finally fell in love with Mario 64 was playing it on my Switch with a Pro controller, not the 64. Like, I just don't like 3D platforming overall. There's exceptions, but as a whole, I don't love it. And so to drop me into like a let's call it, 1998. That's only a couple years after Mario 64. We're still kind of new to this type of thing. And then you're giving me this. And yeah, like that might be part of my problem. So even if I look past the platforming, I would just argue, and I want to get back to the shit I love, because there's a lot of shit about this game I love. But like those last couple levels, I just like, even if I had mastered the platforming and I was good at it, I just don't find that jumping, like having to climb down from platform to platform at the end, I just don't find that fun. Like to me, I was like, it's slow. There's no tension anymore. It's just trying to stick these jumps, and I think
it's just stressful.
Yeah. So that's just, and again, I'm like, let's get the bad out of the way, and then we can get into all the rest of the good. And I can't think of anything else bad to say other than I just didn't care for the last couple levels of the game. Is there anything else about this game you don't like? Or do you have any other takes on the platforming part?
Yeah, no, I can't say anything I don't like. Like I said, I'm looking through it with the rose-colored glasses of memory. So,
sure. As I think most listeners probably are, to be honest.
Yeah, like I wish the biggest drawback to the game is how long it takes for sequels to come out.
Yeah, fuck. Do you think? Listen, we are going to talk about the good now. We'll switch over there, but I'll ask you, like, do you think we ever get Half-Life 3? Like, I know there's Half-Life Alyx, and some say that is, but like, I just mean like a straight up Half-Life. Like, is that has to be up there as like one of the most requested sequels of all time? And but
Valve's totally incapable of making a sequel. So
yeah,
like that trilogy, because all their games have sequels, but never a 3.
Yeah, and like the thing is they have so much like Steam, and now the Steam Deck, like they're just printing money. I'm like, do they? It's like, listen, I would love a new Jak and Daxter game, but Naughty Dog has The Last of Us and Uncharted. They're not going back to Jak and Daxter. You know what I mean? Like,
no, definitely not.
And I maybe it's insanity to compare Jak and Daxter to Half-Life. Even I'm fully aware that Half-Life is monstrously bigger than Jak and Daxter. But the comparison, I think, stands. Like, Valve is printing money with Steam and the Steam Deck. I don't know. Like, I would love to, like, because I would, like, listen, we're going to cover Half-Life 2 on this show someday. I love that game. I liked that game, having never really played Half-Life 1. I liked Half-Life 2.
Because you can jump right into it. It's pretty much a standalone, right?
Yeah, I played it on the original Xbox during that era and really liked it, and just finally got around to playing the first one. So now getting back to the first one, because we should talk about the good stuff about the original Half-Life. I'm going to get it out there right now. I've not played any multiplayer. I played it by myself once on my computer to get it ready for this podcast. So I can't, same as like if we ever do Gears of War, which we will do someday, like I can't speak, I don't do multiplayer. I can't speak to it. So I'll ask, you got anything to say about the multiplayer? Because I'm sure there's gonna be people that want to hear about it, but I don't know if you've got more experience with it than I do.
Yeah, like we played it a bit in LAN parties and stuff. It definitely was like everything with this game. It was like the building blocks, it was the foundation to things to come. Like It was good for in the time, like in its time, it was amazing. It was like revolutionary. Like that and Quake 2 had some of the best fucking multiplayer on the planet. That's all there was. And then Half-Life's multiplayer leads into Counter-Strike, Team Fortress, like these hugely awesome genre-defining multiplayer games, right? So
then I'll ask, go ahead.
Sorry. You pretty much don't have like what Call of Duty is without Half-Life.
Right. So like, because what I was gonna say is like, I played GoldenEye not long ago on my 64, which is from the same, I think 98, like around the same time as Half-Life. And I played the fuck out of GoldenEye multiplayer back in the day, but now it's like, that's a little rough. But like, we might not have console first-person shooters might not, like Halo obviously revolutionized the console first-person shooter, but I would argue that GoldenEye was the first like real first-person shooter on console. And I know that Half-Life wasn't the first-person shooter on PC, but like, is it maybe in that, that trailblazing sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's hugely a trailblazing game.
Okay.
So, if I were to go back and play the multiplayer now, I would, it's very forgettable.
Right.
But in the time and what it led to.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
Definitely was ahead of the curve.
Okay. So for those of you out there that were hoping for multiplayer, like I have nothing to say about it. And there you go. That was your multiplayer. I only played the campaign. So we'll get back to the fucking campaign. I gotta say, bro, when I started playing, I didn't really interpret this game as like a horror game. And I still don't know if I would go as far as to call it a horror game, but boy, it is fucking tense at times. It is.
I would say action thriller.
Yeah, yes, that's a great way to put it. And there, especially in the early going, when you're breaking out of the lab and you don't have a ton of weapons or a ton of ammo, and like, I'll be honest,
just your crowbar and your goatee. That's all you need. Your crowbar and your Gordon Freeman goatee.
Those little motherfucking crab things. I don't know what they're called. I hate those little fuckers. And like, you're crawling through some of these vents in the sewers, and you got to turn your flashlight on, which is such an awesome touch. That it's like so dark, and then you turn the flashlight on, you can see. And then all of a sudden, one of those little fuckers jump at you. I jumped so many times. I hate them. I hate those little shits so much. Fuck.
I think they're called like head crabs.
That they might be. Yeah. They never didn't, and they're just creepy looking. Like it's a tense game. There's a part near go ahead.
And it's not like graphically, the most, it was advanced at the time, but I mean, again, it's just 98, like, they were trying to release it in 97.
Right.
Like, these head crabs did look good. They look fucking creepy. They look like flesh peeled over two claws.
Yeah.
Like, they're crazy.
No question. I will go as far as to say, like, playing it for the first time this year, I think this game graphically holds up today. Like, obviously it's not, fucking like the modern, it's not a 2022 video game, but I don't think it's ugly. Like, I was impressed at how good this game looked by today's standards. And I think, to me, where the tension comes, and I think the tension kind of fades away once you start fighting soldiers all over the place and you realize that how powerful you are and you have all these guns and all this shit. But like, in the early going, when you're still used to just being this Gordon Freeman guy that just went to work, and now all of a sudden I have a crowbar and I need to break out of this lab that's full of these fucking weird looking alien demon crab head fucking things. There's one part in the early part of the game where you break through like a vent and fall into like a sewer, but then you have to open up the water, but then the thing starts filling up with water and you need to figure out how to get out before you drown. And like the whole time these things have been chasing you. That's where I'm like, it's fucking tense. There's parts where you're in these like storage rooms and there's like bodies laying around and these fucking, you can hear the little crab things fucking, and they hop off shelves and get you and stuff. It's like you said, when all you have is a crowbar and maybe a pistol, it's fucking tense, man. I loved it. That's why I thought the game was at its best in that first third. I loved that part of the game so much.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and like, you have such a unique rogues gallery of enemies. Like, it's awesome, right?
Yeah, and then I love that you can come at like, and listen, the AI is not great, but it's also a 1998. I would argue AI is not great in games in 2022. I just played The Last of Us again, and there's a lot of times where I'm like, the AI is pretty dumb. So like, I'm not going to sit here and slam the AI, but I love that I think it's really cool that you can like come across a security guard and ask them to follow you and they actually help you. It is not the worst AI ever. To me, where the AI is dumb is like sometimes they'll get stuck or you'll need them to like open a door for you and they'll get stuck trying to open the door and that kind of stuff. But like when you're actually fighting enemies, the guards you find that'll come along and help you are really, really, I thought that was a really cool mechanic. And the fact that you have the option of asking them to come with you. Like, you don't have to. I love that part. I thought it was sick.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think, and like I said, I don't think any other games are doing that. Like, this game is pioneering so many little things like that. I can't think of one where you could ask people to come and give you a hand.
No, dude, if I had played this back in the day, I think I would have been completely addicted to this game. Like, it was just, especially that first, while you're underground, I fucking loved it. I will say one thing I didn't like about the underground was, oh my God, that fucking part where you have to fight. You don't even fight it. You just have to get past it. It's like the 3 squid arms or whatever the fuck they are coming out of they're in like that tunnel in like that giant tube. Do you know what I'm talking about?
From the ones from the ceiling?
No, they're coming in from like the ground and you go down to the
Okay.
bottom and you do whatever you have to do, and then you have to climb back up and out of this tunnel, but you have to like throw grenades at them or whatever to like get them to temporarily go back underground so you can like run up there.
Yeah.
Oh God, those things killed me so. I think it's just because I suck. I thought it was like, I'm not even complaining because I didn't even dislike it. I thought it was rad, but fuck me, they killed me a lot. But I love that tension that I'm not Superman in this game. Like if I let my guard down, I will get fucking killed. I thought that was dope.
Yeah, definitely. And he didn't just have like health packs everywhere, letting you know you're going into like a harder engagement.
Yeah.
Like it would actually, you'd have like health packs by a dead body. Like it seemed really, like it made sense. I thought you were talking about the tentacles from like those roof things that you'd get caught in and start pulling you up.
But
I hated
those.
It
I hate them too.
grossed me out.
Yeah, me too. And like, when you saw them coming in advance, they were no big thing. You could just take them out, a couple of shots, you're golden. But yeah, when you're like just running along and then all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck? And like, I swear to God, every time they caught me, I thought the game glitched. And I was like, why can't I move? And then I'd realize I'm going up and I was like, oh no. And then you'd look up and then you're like, oh shit. You start unloading on them to get down again. Dude, yes, I love those enemies. And I love the enemies that would, the crab heads, obviously, whatever the fuck they're called. Even though I fucking, there's one part very early in the game where you trigger this like, I don't know what you'd call it. Like a lift. It's not like a full blown elevator, but it's just like, it's going down like a giant ramp. And you're going down to like a sewer, and those stupid little fucking crab heads keep jumping down from above you, and most of them are just missing the. Oh my God, I died there so many times because I happened to save there with like 10 health because I sucked.
Yeah, well, and that's one of those like the elevators going down and enemies are coming up, like a classic, action movie trope, right?
So tense. And you're right. I wanted to get back to your point, dude. You made such a great point. I love that this game doesn't just throw health at you. Like, listen, I think that games would probably get panned more if they didn't give you a bunch of health and ammo and supplies right before a big fight. But I like that there's not a ton of boss fights in this game. And every time you find one of those healing kits, like on the wall, it is a gift from God. You're like, oh, thank fuck. You're like, you go searching for them. And it is such a, like, or those things that recharge your suit too. The same thing. Like when you find
the
them,
armor or whatever.
Oh my God. You're like, thank Christ. Like they're worth going looking for. They're lifesavers.
And what a cool, like, instead of just having like random normal health packs on the ground or like a big red cross that you walk over, like you actually have something that's built into the environment and makes sense. Like, oh, this is like where you do a health check. And how many games have mimicked that? Totally. Like BioShock has shit like that in it now,
totally.
Right?
Yeah. And even like I even really enjoyed the mechanic of when you go up to them and use them and you have to stand there and like, hold the button for 5 or 6 seconds while it's refilling your health or refilling the energy in your suit. So it's not like when you're in a melee full of a bunch of enemies, you can't just run over a health kit, pick it up, and then keep going. Like you need to run over and you need a couple of seconds to heal. And like if enemies are around, you're like, fuck. Like you got to make sure you're safe before you go over there and heal. I never even thought of it that way, but you're right. I think that the spacing of the healing and the items is so well done in this game. You feel like a scientist in a lab. Like it's really well done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very tense.
And even like there's areas where you're running through like bunkers and into parking garages and stuff like that. And everything looks like and feels like the environment you're in. Like that's probably the biggest, other than like, groundbreaking story and a way to tell a story. I think that's one of the biggest perks to this game is just exactly how detailed it was for its time. Like,
dude,
that's the big thing to keep in mind is for its time.
No, I'll argue today. Like it's again, not it's not fucking. I'm trying to think of like one of the best. I love Doom Eternal. Like I fucking love that game. Of course, this isn't Doom Eternal, but I for a game as old as this was, I was shocked and again, like I played the whole game with headphones on and like, in immersion and getting into it and everything. And once I got a grip on the controls and I started to kind of really figure out the gameplay mechanic, I was floored by how atmospheric it is. And you can fucking, you know what else is great? And I might be wrong. There's like next to no music.
No, I don't think hardly any.
Like, and it adds so much. I love that I don't hear some tense music before enemies attack. All I can hear is the noise of the enemies somewhere. And I'm like, cocksucker. Like, I know there's something around here that's going to try to kill me. That had so much tension to it. I loved it. Oh my God. Even stuff like trying to get through like the security, like the tripwires without triggering them and stuff like that. I enjoyed that a lot too. Cause then when you do trigger them and those fucking goddamn turrets those turrets fuck you up.
Oh yeah.
But I liked that.
And like, well, and like little things like there's a part in the level where you're fighting this giant, like, I don't know, blue robot or some bullshit. And I remember you like can end up on top of a tank, like a fuel tanker, like a holding tank. And there's this like digital screen that controls this satellite bombardment. And so you aim with this thing. So the thing's walking around and there's this little map. So you're aiming this little map at this giant robot. Like there's nothing like that at the time.
Yeah.
Like, that was awesome. Such a cool little puzzle. And it's things like that. I can't, my every takeaway, I'm just like, oh, the best thing was how immersive the environment was. And again, that's all, like, it was so good.
No,
the weapons were cool too. Like they had unique weapons too.
Yeah, no, dude, just going back to that boss fight, I will say, like, I got so fucking mad at that boss fight because I kept dying on it. But I once I finally beat it, agreed. You're like, if you've never played it, everybody, like, you're outside and this massive thing chases you through this like parking garage or something to like an outdoor thing, and then you get above and there's like a radio there saying like, hey, everyone get out of here. But you can figure out that you move it like left, right, up, and down like a claw machine and tell it where to airstrike, and you need to lure that boss into like an area where you can hit him with an airstrike to kill him. And I was just really bad at it. But I just wanted to say, agreed. Like, I hate boss fights, particularly boss fights that are just bullet sponges and all I have to do is unload all my best weapons into it forever. That was such a clever, so fucking clever. Sorry, you were talking about the cool weapons in the game, but I loved that boss fight. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, but just getting into that, like that, it was one of those seamless things that was part of the environment. Like, it was just perfectly executed. You didn't feel like, oh, they've given me this to do this. Like, it's actually seemed plausible that it was there, and like it followed the story.
And again, you're not fucking Rambo with like a giant pile of guns. You're like a normal guy who needs to make use of whatever's laying around to keep himself alive.
Your crowbar, your shotgun,
or like that airstrike,
orbital bombardment.
Yeah. Now I will. You know what I did hate though was I didn't hate it. I shouldn't say I hated it, but I can't just. Did you like the parts where you were kind of on like the cliffside and you were fighting the soldiers and kind of climbing your way down that like mountain and you could see straight down and you're just trying not to fall off while you're, cause like maybe it was just cause I was bad with controls, and someone did bring up in our Discord that like you should be falling and it should be tough because you're just a normal guy, which I see the logic and kind of agree, but God, I was getting fucking mad at times, man. Fuck. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That guy's a jerk. Yeah, definitely. You're just a normal guy. He's Gordon Freeman. He's got a dang suit.
Yeah, he does have a
suit. This is how I fantasize I would do in a critical event like this, like a crisis where alternate dimension opens up. I want to fantasize that I would succeed,
right?
Not fall off the freaking cliff and die.
Like I would listen, like the tension of it. You come out of this like sewer drain or whatever, and all of a sudden, and it's like something out of a movie. You come out of this sewer drain, and then you're like running out, and then all of a sudden you do the thing where you're like, whoa, and you look down and it's straight down, and then you got your hands and back against the side of this mountain. And you're like, fuck me. And you're trying to claw along it. Like, I get what they were going for. I fell off that mountain so many motherfucking times that I was but again, that might just be my shittiness. Oh my God, I was mad. Fuck me. It made me, fuck. But did you struggle? Like, did you like that part? I just, like, am I crazy?
I would have struggled immensely with it, but I don't really remember liking or disliking it.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So like,
I would say I probably struggled with it and was pissed off and, but persevered because this is also in a time where you had like, when you got a new game, it's the only thing you had. So
of course. Yeah.
Of course. Played the piss out of it.
But like, and then you get into like the part where you're kind of working your way through. I don't know where it's actually like it almost seemed like an old military base. I don't know if it was.
Yeah.
And you're fighting soldiers and you're fighting aliens, and that was the one. Like, it didn't lose me because I was like, this is fun. It's a shooter. This is fun. But I don't mean to stress how much I like the first part of the game better, but like I did enjoy it better when I was just a normal dude making use of whatever I could find, as opposed to like a guy who's gunning down the fucking, you know, National Guard or whatever the fuck they are, and just finding armories full of weapons and going, you know, full badass. I liked the tension more than just being like in a regular shooter, you know. But I also found. Go ahead.
No, keep going.
Well, I was just gonna say, there was parts where like they would take it back to tension, like you're crawling around in these sewer drains underneath these guards, and they're trying to find you. And then when they do see you, they're whipping grenades down there and stuff. And like I liked that, but when I was just above ground, just shooting soldiers left and right, that was where I didn't check out. But I was like, it's less tension, and now it's just a good shooter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think it switches from, you know, action thriller to like just straight up action.
It's almost, I would argue it's in ways it's almost 3 different games.
Yeah.
Like,
but the whole time you're like in the Lambda complex or whatever. You like this, it's all the same facility. Like those Marines and shit are part of it. I think you're right. I thought they were like, and it's just like the cover up from the G-Man to like, you know, remove anybody who's seen the other dimension, the Zen.
Right. Yeah. They're hide it. Right. Which like, and again, I did like, I really don't want to sound like I'm dissing it. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. It was just, it went from, almost like a action thriller game to like a shooter to like a platformer. And I just liked each section just a little bit less. But I don't know, dude, to me, there was just something about being underground. There's just, it just adds so much tension. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't know why. I think that speaks to the brilliance of the beginning of the game, because it shows you just how far, like, dude, that opening segment where you're on that fucking tramway, I was like, Jesus Christ, this goes for a long time. But then, but
it tells you how deep you are, like exactly. How you are just like,
exactly.
And then spend the rest of the game escaping that. Yeah, I love that. I think it's a good storytelling mechanic.
Yeah, I went from being like, fuck, when is this part over? So as I played the game, I was like, oh, I understand how brilliant this is, like storytelling.
Yeah.
I was blown away, man. I minus the, like, I assume you've beaten it. Yeah. Like that final boss, I don't know, maybe I just suck. I could not for life of me beat that final boss.
Like the big, the huge egg laying head crab thing.
Yeah.
Like on the,
maybe I
like
just
a
suck.
giant baby's body kind of thing.
But like I had also read that like I wasn't like I finally looked it up and I was like do I just suck at this? And there were a lot of people online saying that it can be a pretty tough fight, and I just couldn't beat it.
Because you're supposed to like jump in those big like organic trampolines, I guess, right?
I think so.
And shoot it.
Yeah. And I hate it.
Yeah, and then shoot it in the top of the head. Like there's some kind of not an exposed brain, but like exposed energy or something. You're supposed to shoot it in the top of that.
Yeah, you're supposed to. Pick it off from like a buffet or something like that. But those fucking goddamn natural trampoline fucking things, those drove me insane. Like I just sucked. I just could not for the life of me get the timing down for those things at all. And then all of a sudden they would shoot me up in the air and I wouldn't be ready and I wouldn't stick the landing on where I was supposed to land. I would just fall and lose like 2/3 of my health. I just get so mad. I was like, but I might just been that I fucking sucked at it too though.
You know, though they were tough.
Yeah.
Like it definitely, especially I feel like at the time, you know, you didn't have a frame of reference, so it was like, oh, okay, this is how you move and everything.
Right.
Like it was just, you know, you learned the movements, and that's all there was to it.
Right.
Since, like, if you were to go back like you did, you're used to a higher level of control, right? Whereas this game would have been like, you know, it's like a baby crawling. You're like, all right, on all fours. Whereas you're used to fucking, running to stretch.
Like, and I won't. Like, I don't even want to sound like I'm not even dissing it. It might have just been that I sucked. And seriously, I've heard several people be like, well, you're a normal guy. Like it, you know, it maybe adds to the realism that it's tough for this normal, you know, like I like that Jeff Gordon, or pardon me, not Jeff Gordon. That's a race car driver. Gordon Freeman, remains so, kind of like you don't know a lot about him, and I do
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But
So they did that on purpose. They wanted to have the like unnamed hero so that you could immersively like
yeah,
be him.
which
So
I
you weren't,
great. I love that.
yeah,
by
you
the way.
weren't you weren't seeing like his reaction to something. It was your reaction to something. That was very intentional.
Totally. And I thought it was incredibly well done. I really, really enjoyed that. But like I truly can't decide for people that were coming at me, and no one's attacked me over it. But like I did hear people say stuff like, well, he's a normal guy. It should be harder for him. And 50% of me is like, that's fair. He is like a scientist, it's not like he's got superpowers or anything. 50% of me is like, no, I just don't really like the controls, and that's just that's just a convenient excuse. But I can't decide because I don't think I don't think it controls badly. I just think I suck at it. I don't think it controls badly. I just think I'm not very good.
Yeah, I think it was like the beginnings for
Sure. Yeah.
like what modern shooter controls are. Like I feel like it was, definitely the early days to
No question.
what it is now.
And like I will like I love Doom and stuff as much as the next person, but when you compare this to those games, like I see it. Like I'm a fan. Like I don't know if I'll ever play it again on my PC because I don't want to play it with fucking mouse and keyboard again. And before anyone messages me and says I can pair a controller, I know I can. Blah 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 blah. It didn't really work out very well. But I think it's got a port to PS2. I might try to track down the PS2 version, just so I can play it with my controller. Because I definitely want to play it again. Now I want to play Half-Life 2 again. Like, I am not dissing this game at all. I'm a fan. I loved it. And there are certain that part where you get caught and then you have to break out of the trash compactor and you find the crowbar and have to get out. I know it's a simple puzzle, but that's brilliant.
Yeah, awesome.
Like, that adds...
And like a little head nod to Star Wars.
Totally. Like that had so much, like that is so dope. There's the one part where you're on like a dam and you have to like go down in the water and you have a tranquilizer like spear gun and you have to fight off this giant crab fish whale thing and then open up like a drain and go through like a sewer drain to get out. But at the same time, you've got a finite amount of air. Oh, and I hate swimming levels. Swimming controls in this game are better than like 99% of the games I've played in my life. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Mouse and keyboard fans. Your swimming is superb. Fucking superb.
Yeah, 100%.
Even
the level design was unparalleled. Like, I can't, it just keeps coming back to that. Like, just the different environments, having to do that escape was awesome. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah, I liked some of the little puzzles. Stuff like, I mentioned that part near the very beginning of the game where you have to, like, crowbar your way into that vent and then you fall down into the like underground like water pipes and then you have to get up to another vent to get out, but the only way to get up to that vent is to open up the reserves and just let the place flood with water, but then you only have a finite amount of time to fucking get up there and get out before you drown. I just think those are the little things that I'm like, this is really brilliant. Like, this is well done. Parts where you're climbing through like ceiling tiles and fucking, or like you can see bad guys through like glass doors, but you can't get to them because the doors are locked. And you'll see like scientists and security guards get absolutely massacred behind the glass. Oh, yes.
You can't help them.
No. Oh, fuck. And like I know that shit happens all the time now, but that's a big deal 25 years ago.
Because you got to think, like I said, Doom, Quake, they didn't have like NPCs that talk. So you have NPCs that are talking. So you're putting like, you're paying voice actors, the whole shebang, stuff that was not happening in video games.
Totally.
To say some lines and then be killed. Like that was so unique.
Yeah. I'm a fan. When we like, I think I'm running out of like, I'm going to suck this game's dick pretty hard as long as I don't have to finish because I don't like the end. But the first like 3 quarters I really, really liked. I think I think we're reaching the end. Like we're running out of shit to say. Is there anything before we kind of start wrapping this up? Is there anything that we missed that you're like, oh fuck, I also want to like, I think I'm good. Like I think I've hit on everything I really had to, that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, we really touched on everything I really enjoyed. Like, I cannot get over like how unique and how pioneering this game was.
Totally.
So, I mean, I just keep cycling back to that because it was like like I said, it was like having your mind blown. It would have been like the first time that people played Pong, just like
Totally.
like, and so much came out after it that used what Half-Life did, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like playing it, I like there are certain games that I've played for the first time since I launched this podcast where I feel like this was like a piece of gaming history that I've now finally experienced. And that's where I would put
100%.
this game. It's not only do I like the game, but I'm like I just see the impact and the influence and the history of this game. And I just as a lover of video games, I respect the shit out of it. Like and that this was their first game is fucking insane, man. Holy Christ.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
yeah, absolutely.
There was something else
So-
there was something I wanted to touch on. Go ahead. I'm thinking. Is there was something you're going to say? Go ahead.
What was your favorite weapon to use? Like, did you find you had one gun that you liked above the other ones?
You know, I actually just really liked the like a rifle, like a rapid fire, like there was like a rapid firing like rifle, right?
yeah, like
Yeah.
a submachine
Yeah,
gun.
yeah. That was just like that was my go-to for like 9/10 of the game.
I loved the bee launcher. Like I don't know if it was bees, but the like alien gun that launched like homing projectiles.
I don't know if did I find that? I'm
Oh,
trying to
you
like
should have.
I'm sure I did. But I'm that guy though. Like I never use my powerful weapons because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna need this for later. And then I just never fucking use it. So I'm trying to think.
I'm like now I'm trying to think if I'm mixing up like Half-Life 2. But I'm
No,
positive
it might
there was,
just
like,
be that it might just be I'm sure there are diehard Half-Life fans losing their shit listening to this episode. But all of you that have
Perfect.
listened to my show with any length of time, you know what to get out of this fucking game. No, because yeah, you could get ones that were like you could like lob like enemies at bad guys and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I think it had a name like
I never Google shit for this show, but I'm Googling it now. Half-Life weapons. Cause like I can't believe that I'm not Half-Life weapons. I
maybe
really
I'm
just liked
thinking
like
of
a
a different
rifle.
gun.
Half-Life weapons. Yeah, the submachine gun was what I used the most. The Hornet gun, that claw thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I got it, but I didn't use it very much.
Oh man, so
but maybe I
it's
missed
not
out.
like bee. I mean, I guess it's hornets. I thought it was bees, but it was like a organic cannon that fired like heat-seeking bees.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
I do remember. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't use it very much. I do know exactly where. Dude, there were so many. I have like the list of weapons in front of me now. I hardly used that. I didn't use the laser trip mines at all.
Oh man,
I maybe I just sucked. Maybe I just didn't use any weapons right. I don't know. Maybe that's why I kept dying. But the platforming killed me more than the enemies did. So I don't know. But yes, I do know what you're talking about now. But I'm the same way. Like when I play like Halo, I don't like using the Covenant's weapons unless I have to. Like I'd rather just use like assault rifles and stuff. So maybe
Yeah.
I'm just boring.
well, you glomp onto the classics, the traditional.
yeah.
You know the.
And I fucking love I love that crowbar too. I didn't use it like it just looked cool like that.
Iconic.
It is iconic. That's what I think when I think of Half-Life. I think of those little fucking crab head things, and I think of the crowbar. Like that's what comes to mind right away when I think of Half-Life. So so don't yell at me if I use the wrong fucking weapons, everybody. I likes what I likes. So shut up.
Crossbow and the machine gun.
But I like that you don't really get like any weird powers or anything either. Like you can pick up
Yeah,
like their
actually,
weapons, but you don't get like telekinesis or anything like that.
Yeah, like from all for all stretches and measures, like you're just a normal dude. You're not like the whole time. It's not like you're the chosen one in any aspect.
Yeah. Even like when you get the long jump module, like even that, it doesn't feel like you've got like a special power. It just feels like something that, is an experimental piece of tech that works with your suit. Which I fucking sucked at. I sucked so hard at that fucking long jump. Fuck me. I suck at that long jump. No, man, I was thoroughly impressed. Like it's a piece of gaming history. I still think it looks good. I still think it plays good. Admittedly, the ending wasn't my cup of tea, but the first, 75-80% of this game was. That's what I was going to say. When I decided to play this game, I decided to, just on a whim, I threw it out to the community gets to pick one game every month. My patrons get to vote for a game. And so I opened it up and I put 8 PC games, which I never play. For all of you that are like, and I'll talk about this a little bit more after the podcast so Tyler doesn't have to listen to it. But for anyone that's like, oh my God, does this mean you're going to start playing more PC games now? The answer straight up is no, I'm not. I don't want to play a lot. I don't want to play a lot of PC games. But I listed The Secret of Monkey Island, King's Quest VI, Maniac Mansion, Grim Fandango, Quake, Day of the Tentacle, Half-Life, and Duke Nukem 3D. And it came down to Half-Life and Duke Nukem, and Half-Life beat it out by like a dozen votes. And
man, I'm just surprised that those are the games. Like there wasn't Red Alert on there, the original Fallout, any of the Blizzard games like Diablo or Warcraft or StarCraft.
Well, like I don't do MMOs for like World of Warcraft. Or
yeah, but Warcraft was a strategy game.
Okay. But the other thing was like
before it was an MMO.
Games like I know I'm going to take shit for this. I really don't want to go down this hole, but like I just have so little interest in like Diablo. Like it just doesn't. Like Half-Life, I was interested in. I tried to, because I knew I wasn't going to be that interested in playing a PC game. So I tried to go with 8 PC games that I at least had a passing interest in. We had suggestions of way more. I just tried to pick 8 that I was like, I know that I won't be bored of this. Like I'm going to want to at least try these games. And listen, for those of you out there that love Diablo, I'm not shitting on Diablo. It just doesn't wet my whistle. It's just one of those franchises I don't know if I'm ever going to play. And I really don't care for like Command and Conquer type games. I just suck at those games. So I tried to go with 8 that I liked.
Yeah, they're good though.
Oh, I believe
you might suck at them, but they're great.
Yeah.
They have a great storyline.
I believe that, but there's certain this is why I haven't done a PC game in 230 episodes or something. Because I'm like, I know how many PC gamers are like, I get the messages like, when are you going to do more PC? I'm not saying never, but I am saying it's not going to be for a long time. It's just not my preferred way of playing games. I don't enjoy using a mouse and keyboard. I'd rather sit back with my controller and.
One every 200 and some episodes.
That's about it. Yeah. Like I might do like every January I do 8 RPGs on the poll because I don't love playing RPGs. And maybe every summer now I'll do like a PC poll and I'll throw 8 PC games on there. But what I was going to say was just like of those 8 games, like I'm not going to say that none of those other 7 are as good as Half-Life, but I really feel like I feel like this is like, this has to be like one of the quintessential must-play PC games, isn't it? Like it's just that important.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say this one, and like I said, I think the Blizzard games are pretty critical as well. Sure. And then I can't even think of another like huge like MOBAs, but they're competitive. Like they're not like single player games. But
right,
you could do a whole episode on the big MOBAs out there.
Right. Like I don't want to diss, King's Quest 6, because I actually have played some King's Quest 6 and I like that game. But like, I'm glad that for the very rare occasion that I decided to play a PC game, I played one of the GOATs. Like I feel like I feel like I experienced a piece of gaming history playing this game, as opposed to just playing like a game. You know what I mean? Like I played one of the first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. What the fuck are we gonna?
Out
of what were you gonna say?
I would say like what I would compare it to is like Doom and Quake or what like Pong was. They were the first ones, the first person shooters, right? But then this was like Super Mario 1, like the original Super Mario, where it was like, oh, like what Pong could have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Fuck, I have no idea. There's like not a lot of numbers in this fucking. You know what?
Out of 3, it only gets 2 because
there's only 2 games. Yeah. Well, you know what I think? Okay, I never do this. I haven't done a boring just out of 10 rating on this show in a long time, but I'm going to show some respect. I want to show some respect to PC Master Racers and to one of your forefather games that I actually quite like. We're just going to score it out of 10. We're just going to give it I respect this game enough to not give it a stupid, ridiculous scoring scale. So just straight up out of 10, what would you score Half-Life?
9. like just solid 9.
Yeah, I know it's lame, but like, I think, like, I feel okay. I'm gonna go like 8.5. I feel like 8 isn't enough. This is too great a game, but I really hate the last couple levels. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll go like 8.5, 9, somewhere in there. I granted, there's only about a half a dozen on the list. I can with authority slot this in as a top 2 all-time PC game for me with Roller Coaster Tycoon. I think there's only like 5 PC games that I've played, but this is easily top 2. I'm impressed. Frankly, better than I expected it to be. This was a good fucking video game. And
Yeah. I agree.
And now we can just throw it out into the world and throw it out into the universe that, like, please give us Half-Life 3. Like, I'm not asking. You know what? Listen, we're going to end the show on this. You can take this to the bank. If we get a legitimate non-VR, I don't want to play VR. We just get a legitimate straight up fucking campaign-based first-person shooter Half-Life 3, I will play it on PC. I will fucking give that to all you PC nerds. I will straight up play. I'll do it respect. I will play it. If that's what it takes to get us a Half-Life 3, I will play it on PC day one. I will be one of those fucking nerds. I'll put it out there. I don't think we're ever getting it though.
No, the guys at Valve listen to your show. They're actually porting it over right now. It was fully designed for the VR. And they're like, oh shit, we got to go back.
Yeah. Well, because I get people that are like play Half-Life Alyx, but I just like, I don't know. VR just doesn't, maybe someday, but VR just doesn't wet my whistle. I can't see very well. I get motion sick, and I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on a piece of tech that I don't even know if I want to play it. So give us just a really good game. Yeah. Anyway, fuck, this turned into like over an hour, which I didn't expect it to be. What a great fucking game. Buddy, thanks for doing this as always. And you're like a big like Hollywood star. So what do you got?
I am.
What do you got going on these days?
Yeah. I've made some connections. I'm bumping elbows with the elite of the Hollywood elite.
I was preparation H commercial 74 actor number 3 back in 2020. What are you doing these days though? Where can people check out your shit?
Oh, weird. I was actor number 4 in that same preparation.
What are you doing?
I was your understudy.
Yeah.
So I've been working with my buddy Martin, and he runs F762 Studios, or Studios 762, whatever. It's on YouTube. We've done a bunch of movies together, and we're just starting to get some traction with them now. The last one that did the film festival circuit was called Quiet and Able. And we won a few awards for it. He's won a boatload of awards for some of his other films, but it's kind of cool. So we got one out right now called Quiet and Able on our YouTube, which is S762. And then, in the next year, we should have 2 more coming out. One that's really big. We've worked really closely with a bunch of the different film production companies in Edmonton. So,
sick.
Neat.
Yeah, dude. I checked out your fucking the one you were talking about last time, and I was like, dude, it's a fucking. Like, it's not just a bunch of dipshits on YouTube like I am. Like, it's like professional looking shit. It's good stuff.
And like that one was filmed, I want to say 3 years ago.
Yeah, I remember when you were doing it. It's pre-pandemic for sure. Like, I remember when you were doing
pre-pandemic,
it.
yeah. So we that summer had did an Escape for Tarkov short film, and then filmed Quiet and Able like that winter. And then like COVID hit, so we just filmed a bunch of stuff that when we weren't following restrictions.
Yeah.
And we were very careful, followed all the restrictions. But filmed a bunch of stuff. And so now like we should have a bunch of stuff kind of coming out, pretty quick succession. Like our next film should be out right away.
Yeah, that's
it's
dope.
Super exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So there'll be a link to the YouTube channel in the description of this podcast if those of you letting us rest in your brains right now want to check it out, and I recommend checking it out, especially because I don't want to fucking blow smoke up your ass, but you are one of the more people like you. I don't get it, but you are one of the more popular guests on the show. So check out Tyler's work, and you can see the face behind the nerdy rambling. And buddy, as always, thank you so much for taking time out of your insanely busy schedule to talk video games.
No problem.
With me. I appreciate it, man.
Love it. Love you.
And that's going to do it for this week's episode, Tyler. Thank you so much for giving me a call and talking Half-Life, and to every single one of you geeks listening to this right now. Whether this was your first Remember the Game, maybe your 217th, or I don't know, it could be like episode 300. Like maybe, I don't know. Maybe you like caught this later on down there. I don't give a fuck. If at some point you've let this podcast impede your brain, thank you so much. Impede? Yeah, because impede is slow down, and I would say we make you slower. Whatever. Thank you for listening. I'm very grateful. I appreciate it. If you're interested in checking out Tyler's work, look in the description of this podcast. You can find a link to that. You can go check out the movies that he is doing and is Hollywooding it up and everything like that. If you didn't hate the podcast, maybe leave us a nice review. I'm not sure why I'm supposed to ask for them, but the good podcasts do, so bet your ass I'm going to do it. And if you want more of this, go, I got your back. You want more of this? There are literally hundreds of bonus podcasts waiting for you over on Patreon, and up to 3 additional podcasts going live every week for as little as $2 a month. $5 a month if you want 3 a week. But whatever. $2 a month gets you 2 additional podcasts every week and hundreds of bonus ones. Plus, we donate 5% of it to charity. Plus, you can DM with me. Plus, you can write into the show. Plus, you can join our Discord. Greatest value in the history of the universe. Patreon.com/remember the game if you are interested. We have a P.O. Box. You can find that address at rememberthegamepodcast.com. It is Remember the Game, P.O. Box 69181. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, T6V1G7. Don't send me anything big. Just send me some little postcard, a letter. Let me know where you're listening. I'll send you one back. We'll be friends because that's how the mail works. And you can check me out on Twitch. I stream whenever I have an opportunity. I have really no fucking schedule at all. But twitch.tv/remember the game. I'm never going to bug you for subs or anything over there. You can just come hang out. It's lots of fun. I don't know. I get to see my face if you're interested in seeing what I look like. That's it. That's all my plugs. We're going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to shout out a bunch of Patreons as I'm contractually obligated to do and get all of my life. Thank you for listening. I will be back tomorrow with for all my Patreons with Expansion Pass number 131, where I rank the 10 games that I want to play the most that I haven't played already. I'll be back with Game Patch on Friday, all the world's biggest gaming news, and I'll be back a week from today with Remember the Game number 218, which, if everything aligns, will be about Dead Space because it's October and it's scary. It's Halloween. Fuck yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you on the next one. Cheers. Goodbye. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I could not puke up all the content I churn out every week without all of your support. The following people are at the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/remember the game, and as such, I am contractually obligated to rip through their names as quickly and insincerely as possible. So a huge thank you to Makeshift Mallow, Magic Money, Joe Buck, Sharonic, Andre, Why Does Andy Hate Keeg So Much, James Clark, King Bahamut, Dave McGee, DNA Gaming, Slick Rick, Doug Dorn, Charlie Medeiros, Andrew Wright, Jordan, Fraser Burns, Lil Bunny Fufu 89, Angry Ticks, Dave Thompson, No One Cares, Aaron Lawson, Nathan Tremblay, A-Town, Morgan, Zane Donovan, Mike Maloney, G9PSX, Mercury 869, Wolfgang Darren, Sam Wright, Andy Hudson, Chris Copland, Doogie, Wolf Magic 21, Johnny CCDC, Joe LeBlanc, Squints, Titan 420, Zonko 504, Russell Aldridge, Jeff Bergeron, Captain N, Daniel, Tunable Power, John Woodruff, Randy Barrage, Just a Fish, Noob Q, Denzalo, Holmes, Zach Shepard, Chris Dickin, Matthew D'Amico, Frosty Feet 492, Triple, Elijah Burns, Stephen Parnell, Ray San Juan Tonga, Zach Coiner, DBXJ, Jameer Williams, Steve Dalk, Standard Ass Brian, Trav H, Mizuru, Nicholas Chaffee, David Marcus, Phil Lencher, Ruben Elizald, Eric James, Riley Turvey, Jake Carter, Laces Out Dan, C-Spin, Thomas Smith, Nicola, Munch Makuchi, Leroy Westrich, Dark Squall, Jerry the 3D Printed Saustrich, Evolva, Sham Ramos, DB Cooper, Mojo the Helper Monkey, Brant Hewitt, Gabe, Dan Fusselman, Fuzzy99, Decoy Man, John Jameson, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Scary Terry, Bucky Duck, Edridge FPV, Hagel Waffle, High Plains Drifter, Kayach, Jimothy, Joe Stone, Chris Williams, Oroku Saki's Gardener, Nicole Novak, Cody Richardson, General Fury, Dem Boys on the Roof, James Juan Francesco, The Jamadian Nightmare, Matt Hamilton, Nomad, James Black, Jugs Are Bad, okay, Sam Carpenter, Nerdy Hybrid, Adam Fletcher, Colin Bollinger, Lucas, Joey Mercury, IR Jackal, Theorand, Squeak Nuts, Isaias, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Brian Neese, Christian Gabriel, Maverick Marty, Musty Beetle, John M. Watkins, Beef Dingleberry, Michael Barjudana, Hitchy Poo, Arctic Fission, Romaldo Marquez, Connor McCann, Bulma Simp, Mark But Not McHugh, Trevor McKee, Quiet Place Queen, Cam Nelly 23, Zamatos, Skellaroonie, Angelo Leonardo, Lugnut, Scott Weiss, Bobby Litton, Roger Russell, Kia Pup, Knife Goes In, Guts Come Out, Works For Me, McGrathan, Heman Demon, James Sanabria. I was doing so good. James Sanabria, Derek Cox, Dakota Guy, Alexander Camps, Toad Spit, Ryan Perry, It's the Bigfoot, Graham Itchy Nutsuro, Mr. Papa Giorgio, and John Drews. That was the best one I've ever done. Holy fuck, I'm smiling so much right now. Fuck yeah, Purple Monkey Dishwasher.